meeting of the Ware County Board of Commissioners work session of Monday, August the 24th, 2020 at 4 o'clock. Begin with a roll call vote of commissioners, beginning with Commissioner Barnard.
Present.
Commissioner Burse.
Present.
Commissioner Pope.
Present.
Commissioner Carter is out, and the chair is present. Let's stand for the invocation that I'll do and the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Pope. Heavenly Father, we just thank you, oh God, for another day. We thank you for your love and your grace that you bestowed upon our lives, oh God. And God, there's a lot of sadness and sickness in our community, Lord, around the community and around America, Lord. And God, our hearts are heavy for those folks that are sick. We don't understand, God, but you do. You're the only one that has the answers, Lord. We just ask for your trust. God, we plead for the blood of Jesus over all of us, all of our employees, Lord. We ask you to touch them. We've had a lot of sickness in our employee staff, Lord, and you know all about it, Lord. And God, I ask you to be with us, Lord, throughout the short meeting that we have before us, Lord, and we give you all the honor and all the praise for it. For we ask it in your wonderful, holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in our pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, agenda items. Item A, Mr. Manager.
Okay, under tab A, excuse me, under tab A is resolution 2020-15. The county attorney drafted this resolution, and with the county clerk's position being vacant, Ware County would need to name someone as the open records officer for the record, and then also the resolution names an alternate open records officer, which would be the human resources director, and this would be able to be posted on websites and so forth, and also have a point of contact when there's information pertaining to an open records request.
Okay. Do you have a recommendation for those names, or that's some?
Yes, sir. Well, I would be, yes, sir, I would be the county, it names the county manager, I've admitted that, but the county manager would be named the designee, and then the human resources director would be the alternate.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
all
sir.
Right. Commissioners? Y'all okay? That'd be good. Y'all okay with that? All right. Item B.
Okay, we're in a call meeting, so we can take action now.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir.
I keep forgetting about this in a work session.
Yes, sir.
It is a work session, but it's a meeting too.
Mr. Chairman, I move.
We have a motion.
I move we adopt resolution 2020-15 as presented by the county manager.
Okay, do I have a second? Second. You got a motion and a second. Any further questions for the manager?
Yes, I guess, and this is just, I guess, more of a error, or maybe we can just change it in line 5 there where it speaks about the open records office is directed to notify all county employees and volunteers that any request made under the act shall be directed to the open records officer or her alternate. I would think maybe like their alternate or
his or her alternate.
Right,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for that catch.
Sure,
Yep.
yep.
That's all.
Okay, any further questions? Got a motion and a second. Hearing no more questions for the manager, I'll begin with a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Burse.
Aye.
Commissioner Barnard. Commissioner Pope. Chair votes aye. Item B, we will extend that into our executive session, so we'll bypass that and go to C.
Okay, under tab C is a request to purchase EMS equipment with the coronavirus relief funds, if and when we are allowed to apply for additional funds beyond our first phase. Our first phase amounted to $349,000. We're fairly certain that the second phase will be granted, And if those funds are made available, this type of equipment would be made available or be allowed to be purchased with those funds. I've got Dr. Bill Parham here to kind of explain the three different types of items that we're looking at purchasing. And I think, yeah, he's in the back.
He's right here.
Oh, okay.
You don't want him to speak?
Yes, sir. Yes, he can kind of address it and tell you why he believes that this would be a much-needed expense.
Tell us your mission, Mr.
Thank you all for hearing me out on this, and thank you, Scott. Taken as a group, the best way to explain this is just automation, further automation of what we do. I know you're aware of the pro load stretchers that we got that automates the loading of the patient. What these two items do, and I can answer any questions or elaborate, but one is an auto CPR device. So it does perfect CPR, uninterrupted, regardless of movement of the patient, relieves the personnel of doing that. Those are the Lucas devices. And then the ventilators are also automatic, no more having to sit there and do the bag on the patient.
That eliminates a paramedic or EMT doing the actual
Yes,
manual.
sir. And one of the biggest advantages as it relates to this pandemic is, you know, if we have a cardiac arrest, we have to have 3 and possibly 4 people in the back of that ambulance, one to do the manual ventilation, one to do CPR, another to give medications and defibrillate, and a 4th one to rotate out because it's so exhausting, particularly if we're in a remote area of the county. We could literally go to one person, even in a full cardiac arrest, even a trauma arrest, because you got the CPR automated, you got the ventilation automated. You literally need one paramedic to give medication, defibrillate. And it relates to disease prevention by thinning the herd back in the back of the truck. And CPR and ventilation is one of the most risky situations because you're forcing the patient's air out in the you know, aerosolizing it. And anyone doing CPR is close, arm's length, and anybody doing the bagging of the patient or ventilation of the patient is literally right over the patient. So creates distance and vastly reduces the amount of personnel needed to work that cardiac arrest. These have been needed for a long time, but with the opportunity specifically through the CARES Act, be an incredible addition, and we would be on par with any service in this nation. Except for robotic paramedics, we'd be fully automated, even for the most critical patients. I'll take any questions, or I can go on, but I don't want to talk
Well,
more
I think
than I
that's
said.
pretty well self-explanatory to what the mission of the two pieces does.
Yes, sir, it'd be wonderful.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The power lift, was that put one on every ambulance or have a
It
standby?
would, we did the 4 frontline ambulances last time, and I held back in hopes of, you know, making it a little more palatable, but we didn't do the reserve ambulance.
Right.
So now you can't get people to do mechanical work because they don't want to get in the reserve ambulance that doesn't have it. But it again, in light of the pandemic, it allows distance again. You know, you just hook the patient on and it self-loads and it provides that distance again. So I mean, it's well justified for the pandemic situation, but that's what it is to do that 5th ambulance or the reserve ambulance.
How many are you requesting, discretionary?
One on the pro load, and then 5 ventilators and 5 Lucas devices. That'll put, again, every frontline ambulance and the reserve ambulance.
In other words, all 5 of them will have the lift.
Yes,
the
sir.
lift stretcher.
Yes, sir. And we were anticipating ordering another ambulance by now, and that would have got our 5th one, but due to, you know, the interruption with the SPOS and not knowing when we'll get another ambulance, we should, in my opinion, go ahead and do that reserve ambulance. We were hoping to rotate them in the future, you know, once we.
Well, just hope and pray that the people votes that penny back in so we order another
Sure
new one.
do, sure do hope and pray, because we're quickly exhausting the fleet of ambulances. We're having to take every patient out of town now, everyone that has to be transported, virtually everyone, with the hospital closures, and we're putting the wear and tear on them, but I mean, we're in good shape now, but.
Where are you having to carry them to? Alton, Douglas?
Clinch, bacon,
Clinch.
coffee, mainly Clinch. Clinch has really held up for us. Some to Brunswick, got a truck going to Brunswick now. And we've gotten through it, but it's been a very, very stressful time on the personnel and the equipment.
That wears out the manpower and equipment.
Yeah.
It does, it does. Satilla is still taking our critical patients, strokes, heart attacks, active OB, that kind of thing, but at least half of them that we're transport has to go outside the county primarily, so it's very, very difficult. But we're making it.
This is all about lives.
Yes, sir.
Can't put these dollars on people's lives.
All
I'd
about
never
it.
be one to not support it.
I have a
Think we'll-
question for Mr. Manager. Just the funding would be from a grant that has not been received yet.
That's
This
correct.
is not in the budget, but if we get any relief money, it will be funded from that, correct?
Yes, sir. We, they're supposed to distribute the monies in 3 phases. We got the first phase, and we had to substantiate the use of those monies by turning in personnel costs such as EMS, fire, and those sort of things. So we've got that turned in, and that money was accounted for, and we're just waiting any day for phase 2 to be opened up.
So
And then,
you're asking that this be paid for from phase 2?
yes, sir, it'll be paid out of phase 2.
How
Yes,
much
sir.
was phase 1 money?
349,000. Yes, sir. And they do that for all local governments. You have to go online and do it for both cities and counties.
So this will be the county portion, the city and county.
Yeah, well, they distribute to cities and also to counties. This will be there'll be the counties. That was our amount. Ware County's portion was 349, the first phase. And so we got approval for that. We've already received the money, and then we're just waiting for phase 2 to open up.
These new items will be contingent upon this money,
Phase
correct?
2, yes, sir. Phase 2.
I think I'm good.
You good with that?
Yes, Doc, could you explain, I know about the ventilators, but the, I guess the CPR machine, how would
Yes.
that work? Did you have to strap it onto them or something?
It's a big vest.
Okay.
And, you know, you used to think you had to compress the heart. Now the feeling is you just got to change the expansion and contraction of the chest. So it just sucks the chest in and out, and it works on compressed air. So it just goes to town, and if the bottle runs out, you change it. But the thing in field CPR, you got to interrupt it, to load the patient, move them from the bed, whatever. Then you're going to be swaying in the back, want somebody hovering over the patient trying to do it on the way to the hospital. Will put this on from the start. It does uninterrupted, laboratory perfect CPR, and it's hands off. You know, it's an amazing tool.
So I guess, is it based on, just like I know, like for a child, you know, you want max heart, so it automatically regulates?
Yes, sir. And it's just more of a squeezing of the entire chest in and out.
Okay.
Really runs off of negative pressure in the chest more so than actually compressing the heart. Now, it's got plates for the heart and all, and it's all works together, but it's an amazing device because it can do what we never could.
In other words, it takes the place of human hands.
And in a perfect way. It's an amazing, because you know, it all depended on the weight of the rescuer and whether they were interrupted and how often they were interrupted and were they thrown off the chest. But it's an amazing tool. It does increase survival, but not dramatically. That sounds, you could shut me off if I need to stop, but that sounds counterintuitive, but it does do perfect CPR, but they weren't able to show statistically significant survival over regular CPR, but the fact that it decreases personnel, it does perfect compressions, and it really frees up the personnel so that you can literally take the personnel down about 75% in the back of that truck. And it's a dangerous time because you know how it is. They're up over the patient with the ambulance moving and suddenly stopping and so forth.
Yeah, Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir.
Which I don't want to mess up, but just for the public and for people that's here, when the CARES, what's that acronym? It's for Corona.
Coronavirus,
Corona, it's relief.
trying to remember, relief.
Yeah, forgive me.
Yeah,
We can look it up.
Yeah, I had it down pat, but
when he said CARES, that's the first thing I thought. I was trying to remember what the acronym stood for.
yeah.
Coronavirus.
Wow.
I was,
Coronavirus.
yeah, I'll probably
aid,
have it
relief.
in here somewhere.
We'll look it up and be able to.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
because we throw out these names, these acronyms, and people that CARES.
I think I remember, coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security, I think, or something like that.
And basically, this is something from the federal government that they passed this on
Passed down.
because they know that the cities and counties incurred additional costs
That's correct.
in
Yes, sir.
reference to the coronavirus. So this is something to kind of help ease off because we didn't budget for all this stuff,
That's right.
And so I just wanted
Yeah.
to get some clarification
And
on that.
we-
So
We did, they listed an approved list of equipment, and we did assure that this was approved through that act.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we got
something-
confirmation. There's a little thing in front there in the little packet that explains that everything
Right.
is allowable.
Would it have to be deeded out?
It depends on if there is a sole source for that equipment. I don't know that. I think there is.
There is for every
I believe
item.
there is,
Yes,
yeah.
This is sole source?
Yes, sir. All of the items, they don't sell to middlemen, so it's factory direct, and they're
Yeah, I
unique
remember.
suppliers of that, so yes, sir, it's sole source.
And the power lift, as you were mentioning, Commissioner Pope, would come from Stryker, I think. Stryker produces those, so it's like the other ones we've got.
And this is the total amount of money that we asked for, or
There'll be additional, it'll, more than likely, it'll be another 349,000. And then this, I think, amounts to a little over 88,000, something like that, I think, maybe. I
Yes,
can't
sir, and
remember.
let me say too, and I'm
88, 4320.
I'm a little embarrassed because, and I don't want to put Scott on the spot, but since we got it all set, I finally got a quote for what we actually need on the ventilators. And they will be, this was way too much ventilator for us, so they will be 5,000, or actually about 4,300 apiece versus 12,495. Yeah, so it'll be what, a third of what we're asking right now. But if we get your approval, we'll get those quotes to you before they're ordered.
Yeah, before we order them, we'll make sure that you all know the
Okay.
price and the cost and stuff.
again, just like the chairman alluded to earlier about the ambulance, like say you got 5 right now, but
Yes, sir.
and anytime the county has to come up with another ambulance, they got to either budget for it, and if the money is not in the budget based on our tax digestion money, then we got 2 alternatives: either don't get the ambulance or either raise the tax. So I think this is why it's so critical that we try to get the splash penny back. It's not a new tax, but just get this penny back so that we can do some of the things that we need to do.
Absolutely, and it's amazing how fast they get worn out.
Yeah.
I mean, we had such a good fleet after having them completely depleted about 8 years ago. And I mean, just like that.
8 years
I mean,
ago, you didn't have no
Oh, it was
ambulance fleet,
rough back then.
all because of the splash penny.
We've got a very good fleet now, but it's rapidly going, 2 of them are aging and getting a lot of miles. I mean, they just work them hard here,
Yeah.
About 800 calls a month with a 900 square mile county.
How many calls a month?
800, certainly 775 to about 810 per month. It's gone up.
800 times a month, them ambulances run.
That's correct.
Folks, and y'all comprehend that? 800 times a month. Could be a 10-mile drive or a 100-mile
It
drive.
is. It's a lot of calls for running 3 or 4 ambulances. we have appreciated the SPOS, I tell you, and I don't know how we'll make it without it, but
Yeah.
maybe CARES Act will give us an ambulance, which they will do, but I don't mean to bring that up here, but that may be an option if the money's there and not needed otherwise.
Okay, commissioners, any of
I got one question for the county manager.
Yes, sir.
Whenever employee, I think it deal with this CARES Act too, employee comes down with the virus, has to be out for 14 days. Would they be using their sick time?
We're granted, through the federal program to grant them 2 weeks. It's paid.
The federal's gonna refund us?
Yes, sir.
Back before we spend on?
And then if they're test positive, they would have to test negative to return back to work.
Yeah.
As long as they're not, because you can get false negatives. And so they would make sure they don't have a fever or some sort of other symptom that's still out there that, because I've got a friend of mine that was just tested one day, went back and tested the very next day, and it would come back positive the second day. Yeah. The first one said negative, so you got that situation. But anyway.
Is that part of this CARES Act? Is that separate?
It's under the FLSA. I believe that's.
It's a separate-
It's the separate act, the FCCRA, but it's,
Yeah.
I think, there's a sick leave portion, and then what Scott's referencing is the family medical leave act portion, so it's all together in the sense that it's all, related to COVID and, addressing that in our society. I think it's technically two different acts,
Does the federal government
but it's both,
refund the
that's
county?
right, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion to set the vote.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further questions for the director? Okay, we'll begin with a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Barner. Commissioner Burris.
Aye.
Commissioner Pope. And Chair votes aye.
Now, this is pending we get the money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir,
Yeah,
it
take
is.
it on the money.
And I'll let you know, as soon as we hear something, I'll let y'all know that too, and then also come back with the purchase.
Item D, Mr. Manager.
Okay, under tab D, speaking of relief funds, this is a resolution that we have to provide, and it has to be a matter of record that Ware County, the staff, the county commission chairman, county clerk, county attorney would be able to provide whatever necessary agreements and so forth, documentation to apply for funds. It's more of a authorization to be able to apply for those funds when they come available.
This is
It's just a formality primarily.
It's a document that we need in hand.
Yes, sir.
A legal document.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, commissioners, do I have a motion?
So moved, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Chairman.
We got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any questions? Any further questions for the manager?
That's to approve the resolution 2020-17?
Yes, sir.
And that acronym is Corona's Aid, Relief, and Economic Security. That's what it was.
I thought that was,
You need to write that down.
I got it out later.
Just say C-19.
yeah.
The way I say it. Okay, begin with a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Pope.
Aye.
Commissioner Burris. Commissioner Barner. And the chair votes aye. Item 5, commissioners' comments. Before we go into executive session. Anybody?
Well, only thing I'd just like to wish Commissioner Carter speedy recovery. I talked with him today.
Oh, you did?
And he's getting ready to be released from the hospital, and he said he's gonna be able to go home and, I guess, do his recovery there at home, his convalescence. So, anyway, just wanna wish him a speedy recovery.
Okay.
Keep him in our prayers.
Is that still in the hospital?
He's getting out. He's
Getting out.
getting out when I talk to him.
That's great.
Sounds good.
He first probably anticipated he'd be there 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
that's, there's power in prayer. Okay, Mr. Manager, County Manager.
The only thing I wanted to point out, and I'll probably have something, I'm pretty sure I'll have something at the next meeting, with the impending vote for the SPLOST, it might be that we need to discuss the streets and roads projects that we have that haven't been let, to maybe put those on hold until we know more, because there may be more of a reshuffling of the deck, so to speak, with those funds.
Yes.
If we're not successful in that passing. So, just got me kind of concerned, from a standpoint of having money there to pay for graders and do drainage work and road maintenance work rather than going out and resurfacing and paving, so.
Yeah.
Because once that goes, we have a list that's already created with the single county T-Splost. We can't go outside of that list because that was publicized in the referendum, whereas the 2014 SPLOST was all characterized under road, streets, bridges, drainage, that kind of thing. So that gives us more flexibility, and so that would be the fund that we would have to look at each and every time a project comes up, to see if we want to just hold back on those funds until we know more. But I just wanted to point that out, that was one of the things I've been working on this morning.
Okay.
So you're going to recommend funding sources for the projects that are in the future based on not having the new?
Well, if they haven't been let, any projects that fall outside of the single county T-Splost, then it might be that we hold those projects, still until we know whether we'll have SPLOST money to keep going. If not, then a lot of that money is used to pay for the drainage crew, to pay for lease payments of motor graders and those kind of things. And some of the, dump trucks, those kind of things. So we'll need to hold back those funds, because that's the kind of equipment we would have to use every single day. Whereas if you've got a project like street paving or resurfacing, those things may have to wait until we're successful in getting the capital money to do those with, so.
Sound like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thinking ahead.
Yep. We don't wanna extend ourselves and not have the funding to cover it. Any of them. All right, anything else? That's it. I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
Got a motion and a second. All right.
And Mr. Chairman, if we can just state for our record, so we can get in our minutes, the purpose of our executive session. I see on the agenda, I think personnel and also to discuss litigation.
County manager's employment contract.
Okay.
Okay.
And then also litigation, or just personnel?
Yeah, and litigation.
Just,
Okay. All right. Let's retire to the room.
We're gonna vote?
Yeah. Motion and second. We just
Got
need a
motion
vote.
and a second. All of them said aye, so.
okay.
All right.
All right.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I was told last week that the ABC Avenue deal, that y'all would be mailing out ballots to all the citizens of the two communities to vote.
That'll be something that the county commission will have to take action on. This commission has not voted to send no letters out to nobody.
Okay.
And I would ask the county commission, if they want to do that, then they'd have to vote to do it. Cause
Now,
we're
you gave
looking
us
at $4,000 or
November
$5,000. We done spent $292,000, and I'm not in favor of spending I'm just one. I can't speak for the rest of the commission.
You gave us that resolution you had at the meeting was November 3rd.
November the 9th.
If you was gonna do that, but we know this before November 3rd.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got from now, the community has, as I said, from Blaylock Road to Jordan Drive, everybody that lives on the east side of that track to come with a spokesperson to stand right there and say, this is what we have agreed to, and we've all signed a petition, as I said in my motion. I asked for a motion for everybody that lived that area to sign. My name is John Smith, and I live at such and such a road in that area, and I support or I don't support it, and bring it back to this commission. This commission is at an end with it, as far as making a decision.
I don't talk anymore with the railroad.
Sir?
I don't talk anymore about the right of way with the railroad.
No, sir.
These are just rumors out there, and that's why we're asking these questions.
That man right there, if you got a question, he's the manager. If anybody gets called, you know how many people's called me since the last meeting? One. Lives in your area, and he said, I'm through with it.
Last year when we was doing this, I showed you the article in Jacksonville where they got an $800,000 grant to study railroad blocks in Jacksonville. If we try to get a grant for a study, it was a federal grant.
Yeah, I, way back when you brought that to me, I contacted the FRA about that because it was a federal grant to study that, but they wouldn't give me any information beyond that. And I even went on and did a search to try to find that information, but they had an inspector or an investigator that was
That's a lot of
doing
money
it. Yeah.
for a study in Jacksonville.
Yes, sir. Mine and your
Which
money.
to me was, I mean, if you didn't have approval from the railroad and, you know, didn't intend doing what you was gonna do, it was a waste of money.
Well, in the beginning, they said they'd go along with us, putting it downside the track.
Well, that's like me telling you I'd sell you a cow for $100, if you don't get something in writing or, you know, shake a man's hand, then you're basically saying a good contract. So my question to you, Scott, now, is, so we stand at this, so everybody's clear here. The railroad's not gonna give us the right of way.
Correct. Based on what they told us last, yeah.
So it's either to get individual land,
That's right.
which means that when you get down around Rusty Gaines and GC Gaines down there to the only 125-foot right of way that exists, you're gonna have to jog that road over another 60 foot. So when you get down there, that road's gonna take a right and back to the left to come out on Jordan Road. Okay?
Yeah.
Down there on me is a 100-foot right of way. Got 50 foot on the US 1 side, you got 50 foot on my side. Down around Rusty, you got 75 feet. So now you're talking taking 60 foot of Rusty Gaines' land,
Yep.
60 foot of GC Gaines' land, which is gonna demolish 2 houses.
That's
I ain't
correct.
voted to take nobody's land.
If they went that way, yeah.
So we don't understand it, y'all through, it's a big issue.
That's right.
It's big.
It's the community's decision now to come back up here with us a decision. And if we don't hear from you tonight, we know it's over with. That's all about it. Yeah, that's all I know.
Sounds forced to work.
Ain't gonna force nothing. I ain't. That's confidential. Any way you look at it.
Everything's still forward. Mitt, is that Mitt? His wife, Riley's sister.
back in, session, and, we discussed, personnel contract for the county manager, and, we need a motion to, am I correct? Need a motion to accept the contract that was, that we all have looked at. I need a motion, Dick.
So move, Mr. Chair,
Got a motion, do I have a second?
that we approve the contract for the city manager, county manager.
Oh,
Yo,
man.
I got deep program.
Old habits, hard to break.
Yeah.
Start over.
Okay, we got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
You second, Commissioner Pope. Okay, I heard you. All right,
Under discussion.
Yes, sir.
I understand that that's a 3-year contract?
yes, sir, 3-year contract.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, begin with a roll call vote.
I got one question.
Okay.
Sorry. Did y'all do a study of salaries for other county managers in the area, see if his compensation will be comparable to theirs?
Yes, sir, I did do some homework on that, as you all requested, and I
Yes.
provided that to both Chairman Brown and Commissioner Pope, as they were the ones doing the review. And so they had that when discussing the salary issue.
And the 2 counties that you surveyed, you surveyed 3, one tiny little county that had a lesser amount, but the 2 comparable size counties were in line with
Yes,
this
sir.
new contract, correct?
That's exactly right. And then also provided a more general survey as to the Georgia area, but I think those were probably the most instructive, was the South Georgia counties that were of similar size in nature.
Kind of like doing some comparables.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, got a motion and a second. Any further questions? Hearing none, begin with a roll call vote, beginning with Commissioner Pope.
Aye.
Commissioner Barnard. Commissioner Burris.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. All right, now, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I got one other thing I want to say.
Oh, okay.
I've talked with the county manager. I think I mentioned to both county commissioners also, just hadn't got around to talking to you about it, Jimmy, about sending out a survey. It was brought up in here a while ago about sending out a survey to all the people in Jamestown and Frontier States. Because I've had several phone calls that people don't want to get involved in that meeting at Jamestown to pull neighbor against neighbor about which way they want to go with the ABC Avenue or Winclay Avenue. So I come up with an idea about sending out a survey to everybody in them 2 neighborhoods. Let them choose whichever route they want to go on and send it back to us. And November 9th, whenever we gave them the deadline, we'll open it up, we'll count things, whichever one's got the most votes, we go with that. That's what he was talking about a while ago, about the sending out a letter to everybody. And manager's already got a letter printed up to y'all, if y'all want to look at it to see what it says. But the people out there's afraid neighbors gonna turn against neighbors, like one neighbor might want, another neighbor not. That way it'd be a private, survey done.
So, if I'm understanding, and that's your district, Stephen, I won't try to, support whatever you want to try to do out there, but I guess this would, the people would kind of like be anonymous.
Right.
So, in other words, they basically like doing a secret ballot,
Right.
saying, okay, well, I'm for it, but naturally, when somebody come up with action, they're gonna say, no, man, I'm against that, So, but I guess that's one way to do it, but, just based on, from what I've been hearing so far, with the people that stay in that area and what this commission has gone through, and again, I just want to reiterate, I just got here, but I'm trying to come up to speed on it. It's, the route is basically an escape route. I think the chairman put it well, that it's to get the people from out there, so if something happened, a train is stopped, a derailment or whatever, they can have access to get it, emergency personnel or whatever needs to get there, but, it seems like some people want it, some people don't, but, the old adage says you got to sometimes break a few eggs to make an omelet, and, it's unfortunate, but something gonna have to happen,
I think, I don't think there's a resolution to it, as I sent everybody a
Right,
text
I got it.
today. And after thinking, I mean, this was 20 years ago, and now it's going again. I appreciate the work that Steve has done on this, a
Right.
lot more than I ever did. But I've decided that I want it on record for the minutes, that I will only support the overpass that the T-Splosh referendum called for. It'll get over the railroad track, it'll get over the ABC Avenue, nobody will be affected. I just don't think there's a resolution, and as Steve and I support each other all the time, but I don't know that a survey will make any difference.
No.
So, and I support everything that Steve's done and will continue to do so.
Yeah.
But that's what I want on the record.
So we just gonna sit back and just let on people in Jamestown have their meeting if they have them, or if they don't have any meetings out there, or if they can't come to no kind of conclusion.
Well, if they don't come to a conclusion, they just won't be one. We'll go back to, or the next commission will have to go back to the original recommendation. Like, I don't know how many years ago, that's been a long time. I don't think you'd ever get nothing out there done, because I seen them sitting out there to see, no, I don't want it on my land, you know? Yeah, I ain't got a solution. I just ain't.
I guess
I'm through. As I said, it's you people, y'all decide, come back in tonight and tell us.
I guess
And if you don't, then I don't guess they want no road.
I guess the best solution, which, unfortunately, we don't have that alternative now, was to go straight down by the track and the railroad give us
That's
the right of
right.
way. That would have been the
That's
best.
right.
Nobody would have been impacted. But since the railroad has basically said, we can't use their right of way.
That's right.
So now you got,
60 foot over there
Go
on people's private property,
you
and I
cut
seen a
through
man
it.
out there shaking his head.
Yeah, there's been a
Yeah, that's being
roadblock
said.
every which way we moved, and then like, Leonard said, Mr. Gaines out there, no, you ain't getting my property. I
No,
mean, it's
sir.
just no end to it.
yeah.
But whenever we went to the people in Jamestown trying to drum up support for our local T-Splosh, we told them that would be part of the T-Splosh.
That's right.
And it's on,
Do a exit route.
That's right.
But spend $6 million on an overpass,
Spend 7 million crossing Keller Creek.
goes, what was that amount? 2.5, 3 million across Kettle Creek?
Pass,
No,
just the
ABC Avenue.
ABC Avenue,
And then destroy all them people's livelihood over there, just so we can tell them we done it. I ain't gonna vote to do nothing. I'm a no vote. There's 3 of y'all have at it. Somebody will make a motion?
So Steve,
How
that's
much,
your district.
one question I forgot, how much it cost to send this letter out? And how many, do you know?
there's 220. Household to mail it, and then 55 cents back, so probably around 35.
And there'll be about 60% of them will throw it in the trash can. I go ahead and tell you. Then people don't want it over there in frontier states. The people on that side of the track don't want it down in front of their house. There's a lady toting in all them steaks. I brought y'all steaks back. People that don't want you to help them. You tell us. Let them tell us.
you got a copy of Steve's letter?
It's in my office.
What are the choices on it?
ABC Avenue and Tanner Lane, Winkler,
Or nothing?
or nothing.
So when you say
There's
87,
nothing
you're
on there?
talking about curving around, staying off the CSX right away. And that's where we're gonna impact the Smith guy that's getting ready to build a house.
And the purpose of this, and I'm just talking, is the purpose of the survey is to get what?
to see, get a majority of the votes, see how many people wants it. I mean,
To give some kind of direction to the commission?
There needs to be a plan. That's what I ask. You people tell us.
But they don't wanna form nothing. They don't wanna turn neighbor against neighbor out there.
Well, what you gonna do
They
when you
don't
get
even
them
wanna
letters
have- they
back?
don't even
There's
wanna have
80%
meetings
of
out
them.
there. Nobody wants to
That tells me
take
they
the
don't
lead
want
on
to
it.
know. They don't want nothing.
Unfortunately, I think,
That's me.
unfortunately, that won't change when the decision is made. I mean, they're still gonna be braiding sand at each other.
And we'll be spent 292,000 plus.
I tell you what, until we can really get something solid, I don't think this commission or this county needs to spend another dime until we get something pretty much ironclad that this is what we're gonna do. And, you know, just like Steve was saying, I mean, and Jerry, when you start having the people, you're putting it on them to make this decision. Now you're gonna
right.
pit them,
They,
when
you know
really,
who they gonna
we
blame?
should be
They gonna
kinda
blame you.
making the
They
decision,
gonna
you
say,
know?
well, he's the one that wanted that letter sent out here. And then they all
right.
gonna get mad with you.
They're gonna get mad at me. I put it on them to vote whichever way they wanna go.
Y'all don't start fighting down there, y'all are
I mean,
neighbors.
you
Y'all-
can't get mad with Donald
Y'all,
Trump
hold on.
because he sent out a campaign letter, vote for me.
It's up to y'all, whatever y'all want. I'm a no vote, so.
If Steve wants to do it, I will vote to send it out if he thinks it'll help him, but I will not change my stand on what I will vote for. If there's at least 4 votes, and if the votes are there to do something else, then whatever.
I believe we can get a clear picture of what the people want, let them do a survey, check which route they wanna do, mail it back to us. If the majority of the people out there wants it to go down ABC Avenue, we go down ABC Avenue. If the majority of the people want to go Wing Clay, we go down Wing Clay.
Well, there'll be a fight there.
Well, I mean, you're
People
not
don't wanna
gonna,
give the land. You know, it all goes back to land again.
whenever the state of Georgia gonna come in here and do our overpass on State Street, all of them people along there's gonna have to give up their land, close their businesses down and move it. Look at all the
That's
business.
10 years down the road.
Huh?
That's probably 10 years down the road.
I've never gotten a call about this. 20 years ago I did. I have not gotten any calls. What do the people say that are calling y'all now? Do they tell you what they think, or?
Are you talking about on
Yeah,
Jamestown
ABC,
crossing?
yeah. If
Well,
they
they
call-
know we gonna do something other. They said all we do is sitting around feeling our thumbs.
I think, well, like Leonard says, I mean, it's up to us to make a decision.
Right.
We need
They
to
can't
a
make the decision.
That we can use
Well,
that.
we made a decision and they all pitched a fit, fill this place full. No, we don't want that. You can't take my land.
I personally think the survey is just stirring it up and will not accomplish anything.
Yeah.
But if he wants to send it, I will vote to spend
You know,
whatever.
it's the same
send it.
thing we done out on Osborne
But I will not
Lane.
change what I will vote for.
We done the same thing on Osborne Lane. You know, we had people out there that didn't want all that paved. We had people that did. We sent the survey out and we took majority of the vote and we were moving along with it.
And we did the same thing on Walker Road,
Yep.
sent the survey. So, but I will not change what I will vote for.
What's gonna boil down to it, the people that on this ABC that's off the right of way, cause we can't go down right that, CSX
Your
track.
phone's gonna ring off the hinges. I
Right.
go ahead and tell you.
So
Well, yeah, we
the
got
people
this
that's
letter.
gonna be impacted by it, they
I
gonna
did send
vote
it to
against
you.
it, and
Does-
so it's, that's what it's
Does the
gonna.
letter,
Manager did.
does the letter explain the impact, like Leonard says? There'll be 60 feet of the Gaines pecan orchard that has to be given up, and
Yes.
does all of that,
It
do
goes
they
to
know
war.
what will be, do they actually know
No,
what this
is
project will do?
actually- This is actually the
Laylock.
Laylock South.
Really, the game,
Over by ABC where it's at now, or the Wing Clay.
What about the other? I mean, that's defeating the purpose of doing,
yeah, but the game is, that won't even come into play on this right here, would it?
No, this is just to get across the creek.
Right. I went out there.
just seems like it ought to explain exactly what's gonna happen.
Let me say this, and that's all I'm gonna say. We set up here at the last meeting, and it was a 5-0 vote to let them people decide and bring us a report back. And that's all that's all
They
I'm
will
gonna
be
do.
deciding, but they just put it on paper.
Hey, yeah, I done voted to do what I was gonna do, and that's up to y'all to do something different.
After thinking about it, I really don't think that they're gonna get a group and then do anything. I just don't.
They're not.
Well, they'll have to put up or hush. We can't decide, no, I don't want it on my land. Well, you tell us. You come tell us how you want it. That's what it amounts to. Well, better than that, just wait till January the 2nd, then y'all can, you'll have your new
I
man up
guarantee
there.
you, B.
And let him tell them.
Anything gonna happen on January 2nd?
That's right.
Just leave the new chairman a note, tell him bye.
Well,
I'm leaving it to you.
he done mentioned to me about an underpass. Tell him to go out there and tell Tanner, so can't we go under an underpass right there where it's real low?
Yeah, I'm
I
getting the
thought
jump on him
myself,
over
yeah,
my overpass.
you ain't got to encounter Deal Tanner yet. I don't think what you do out there is gonna satisfy them
it's
folks.
gonna-
I really don't. And if I did, I'd say I do. Anyhow, y'all do, hey, somebody wanna make a motion?
Whatever, I mean, that's up to Steve, and this is.
I wanna make a motion, to send the survey out. I've already
Anybody
spent
wanna
time trying
second
to
it?
get the letter drafted and everything else. I don't wanna quit now.
Can we get a copy of it and see if we wanna add something before it goes out?
Steve, I just, like I say, I know.
Steve's gonna sign it.
I
know-
signed
hold
my
on.
name's
I want my
the bottom.
signature on it.
My name-
I'll second it to get it on the table. Discussion on the table. I'll second it to get it on the table.
Oh, just a letter on the table.
Discussion for the motion.
So Steve, is that something that you could do if you wanted to? You know, you represent a district like,
I probably
your
could do it
district.
on my own if I wanted to.
yeah. I'm talking, and then that way,
I tell you better than that.
The county pays you that much.
Hey, I tell you better than that. He's their representative. It means this much to you and to them people out there. I'd go to every one of them's house and say, I'm Steve
Yeah, I'd
Barner.
be catching crumbs if I go to everybody's house. I ain't crazy.
Where you one of these?
it ain't all he gonna get.
I ain't being smart, I'm just being,
Can you do this? Can you call, I mean, put the one on Facebook, on everything. You have a meeting at the church and give them the ballot, let them secretly sign it, and then turn it in with no names, and then count it.
And you go out there and support
yeah, I
him in
hadn't
that,
thought
Jerry.
about it even better.
He's
I
out
didn't say
in
I'd do
church.
that.
I
I
mean,
just say
in the
I'd
church, you know.
send it, do a survey. No, I done had that. Can you do that? Or do you want, I mean,
Probably
to save a bunch
could.
of money?
How much money was that was gonna cost? How much?
About $300.
300, that ain't much.
Well, that is on top of the supply.
Well, you say 500.
Yeah.
Oh, to go have a meeting out there?
Envelopes.
To actually mail a letter, survey, and have them to mail it back.
I like it even better. Steve's their representative. Let him call for a meeting at that church, and none of the rest of us be there. I'm y'all's representative. And we want to end this dilemma, and we fixing to hand them a sheet of paper.
Anonymous survey.
Yeah,
Well, Burton needs some representatives to be there, because it's gonna, Frontier State, it's gonna have an impact on them too if it goes down Winclay, and
Yeah, who?
And he represents that district, Burton does.
Burton's got
well,
that.
we just need to wait until he gets back now. If you're gonna do that, or either you do your part over there across the creek, on the north side of Kill Creek, from Blaylock Road to Jordan Drive.
Tell you what, we done about beat this horse to death.
Yeah, I'm through with it myself. I'm sorry.
Gonna resurrect.
It's up to y'all.
My motion still stands to mail out a survey to everybody over there.
All right, I got a
You think
motion.
that's from the county, I mean, from the commission?
There's from me. My name be the only one signing the letter.
But
Well, I
that'd
don't
be-
see, well, so all we need to do is to authorize you to spend 300 plus however much time and whatever it takes to, cause it's gonna cost.
So, I still wanna see that letter, Steve. I mean, I'm not saying I'm against, but I wanna
Yeah.
see what's
Yeah, I like to
contained
see
in it.
see the
'cause
survey.
Well, we can still,
It might have all our address on there, something like that.
Let's go ahead and pass the motion.
Well, have your
for-
name.
we can still vote to authorize the manager to write, to do this letter with Steve's signature, and he can meet with them.
So this letter is just to meet with them, not to,
Send a
whatever.
survey out.
Yeah.
I want the survey to go out where they can sign it and send it back to us, tell us which route they want.
So you want to mail it out, don't have a meeting?
I wanna mail it out.
Okay.
you wanna mail the letter, trying to see which route they wanna go.
Right.
All right, then after we get the letter back and you get the majority, then you're gonna go meet with them.
No, we're gonna make a decision, we'll go ahead and honor their, wishes. If you have 500 wanting it, 300 no, we go with the 500 and go with that route. Just like we did 2 other times.
There'll
in this
have to be a
county.
route on there to get.
I mean, the
people.
letter's gonna have a route, both ABC Avenue route and Winclay route. We're gonna have a picture of each one of them. A, B, you choose which route you want.
Got it?
Man, I tell you what, this, I don't know, I just got a bad feeling about this.
I
Bad.
got a bad feeling, but
It's something just
Well,
ain't
whatever
going
y'all
right
do,
now.
I'm a no vote.
I thought we might be digging a deeper hole. And I understand, like I say, Steve, you wanna get it resolved, but
Y'all just forget it. We just let them, if they make a decision, we're meeting, if they ain't worried
Hey,
about it, I've
man.
already.
November the 9th, that was the time they supposed to come and stand up here and say, we've met, this is our decision. And then it's left up this commission to say, yeah, we can do that, or no, we can't.
but like Steve said,
And then them people out there's made the decision, this county commission ain't.
but would that be kinda like us being, derelict in our responsibility and do this commissioner and a board of appeal to let them make that decision?
Let's let the people have some say-so. Am I right, Madam
Well, the
Attorney?
same thing we did on Osborne Road. We took the survey, we took the majority, that's what route we done.
a letter will go to each household
Yes, sir.
and 1 vote per household,
Yeah.
1 vote per letter.
The property owner, not a renter, the man that owns the property.
Really go to whatever mailing address it is. I mean, if you rent from,
Yeah, well,
if you rent from me, you don't have to say so.
Whoever the registered owner.
and put Steve's phone number on it.
They know mine anyway. I mean,
I don't
you ain't
want
got-
to call it me.
Yeah, don't call mine on
I done had 2 to call me today. What's all this about a letter? Didn't know nothing about it, and I ain't getting involved. I'm gonna say, I don't know nothing about no letter. You call your commissioner.
Put Stephen Burton's letter on there, name on
right.
there.
That's right. And if it was,
I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think earlier we indicated to this group that was here that we weren't sending out a survey or a letter, so I don't know how or if you all wish to address that, if at all, but I just did want to mention that.
What, that's, because we left them with the impression, hey, we not gonna do
Right.
anything, and
And that's
I'm
fine.
still
I'm
stuck
not
on-
saying it's okay not to change that, but, you know,
I'm still stuck on November the 9th. Y'all come back with us an answer. If they don't bring us an answer back, then this commission will,
Decide from there.
Commissioner Pope, we'll talk about what you sent us today. So, well, let's go back to our original plan.
That's my vote.
another thing too is, Commissioner Carter, I mean, he's not here, but I think he needs to have some kind of input, because that in his district too, right?
Yeah, that's right. Across the creek, yeah,
Right.
on the south side.
Yeah, so I mean, and, you know, he needs to be privy to this and aware.
He's aware of it.
You talk to Commissioner Carter,
He's
he's
aware
good,
of it.
he's good with it?
He needs to ask his people that lives over there. He goes to church with.
I will say this only as an observation is they were trying to put a bypass in Tift County 5 to 10 years ago, same type situation. There was just no way to do it that it did not negatively affect someone. Same type of, I mean, even more so, more uproar because there were more people affected. I mean, hundreds of people coming to the meetings. And candidly, it died because they never could come to a solution that, and it's going to be a problem. I mean, candidly, it is a waiting problem for Tift County. I know when you all have driven down 82, there are certain times it just is, you know, it's
sure is.
and so, you know, long term, they're going to have to deal with that problem. It's not going away. But they tried the opportunity, I mean, as I recall, and Tony was involved in this so he could speak more intelligently about it, but just as a citizen of that community, you know, they tried to educate the public on, here's the different options. You know, option A, we'll go this route. Option B, this route. Well, you know, you had 50 homes affected by one route, 65, you know, businesses, whatever. Every route had someone affected, and so they all objected, and then nobody did anything. And so it's still there. It's still going to have to be dealt with at some point. But I simply say that to say there is no easy answer to this situation. I mean, y'all know it. There's no way that you're going to move forward with that project without affecting somebody's property if the railroad's not going to let us, you know, go on theirs. And that's just, you know, you all have some
And then
hard
people that
decisions.
live on
Yeah.
that property, they'll say no.
So I
99%
guess
of them will.
if we are
just seen one
we
of
won't
them
ever
set
we
by
won't ever
every day.
get the answer we want, which is I think probably, you know, 95% of the folks being happy. I think we won't get that, but we may get a majority, and that's what Steve's looking for, is just being able to say,
Y'all don't want it, or y'all do
here's,
want it.
yeah.
Now tell us how.
Well, I can see it right now that when this route that Steve's talking about, send the survey out and come back and say, okay, well, the majority say come win play. Then we gonna have an overflow crowd up here. So, and it's gonna start all back over
That's
like
it.
a vicious cycle, you know? And, you know,
maybe
guys
I'll
gonna
be
start
wrong
talking
about
about
all
the
that.
pond and, you know, maybe how it impacts him, and it just, I wish it was a better
It may
solution,
go
like I
either
said,
side.
it could go
Tip
inside that
past it.
track,
I mean, it's
and
just-
right away, nobody has a problem. And I think that was, Jared, that was what they really
Over time, it gets worse.
understood, that we were gonna go beside
We
the
got to
track.
fix some of
It wouldn't impact nobody.
The more that gets
Now,
ignored and.
Till the 23rd of
You know.
June, whenever the railroad said, no, y'all
Yeah.
can't use our property, you got to move over.
yeah, so I think that's what the whole thing is right now, and, you know, it's unfortunate, but hey,
They still think that we ain't talked to the railroad.
What?
They don't know how much conversation's been with the railroad, do they, Mr. Manager? He's been to Atlanta, ain't you been to Atlanta on this thing?
And Jacksonville.
so
In
either,
Jacksonville.
we can't go down outside the railroad right now, so to the community, we got two options. Go, the route we talking about, which is gonna take up part of some, or either go to Win Clay, that's the only two options we got, or we just don't do anything.
I got a son that's lived out there 16 years now. And I said, how many trains have you seen stop out there in 16 years? He said, Dad, about 5
That
years
mixer
ago,
just
one
ain't
stopped
working just
because
right.
of the
That'd
air.
be the only problem. That's the only problem.
And now they running locomotives on the front and the back and in the middle. You know, the reason they're doing that, so they don't
Yeah,
tear
they
the
got
draw heads up.
distributed
It
power.
stopped. They distributed the power, equalized the power. They don't have breakdowns. That's why they go through Jamestown doing 40 and 50 miles an hour, where they used to stop.
All right.
Anyhow,
Okay.
what you want to do, Steve?
I already told you what I'm gonna do.
You got a motion and a second on the survey.
Under discussion,
Mailing the survey.
Mailing
we
survey.
get a copy of the survey before we send it out?
Yes.
You said,
What about before we vote on it? If we vote on it now, we vote to just to
a
authorize.
survey, but we're gonna get a copy of it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you before we mail it out, so you can see it.
And we make notations and then go from there.
With district, commissioner's gonna sign it?
Correct.
His phone numbers.
And
Not
Burton,
mine, I don't want mine on it.
and Burton.
I done had me enough of that. Yeah, and Commissioner Carter.
Yep.
Well, Steve, I tell you, just based on, I understand what you're trying to do, but I think it's just gonna create a.
Well, we can't keep slack, I'll take the heat, I can handle it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to
Hey.
vote against that, cause it's just gonna create
Ain't got a
a bigger
problem with
problem
that.
when you get that
I
survey
served-
back.
I served 8 years as tax commissioner, if you can do that job for 8 years and handle slack, you can handle anything.
One of them stood, said, I know, well, never mind.
Call the question.
All right, we got a motion. send out the, you made the motion?
I made the motion.
Okay. Who
And the-
seconded?
Second for
Commissioner
discussion.
Pope.
Second it to get on the table.
All right, any more questions, discussion?
The motion is to send a survey, right?
Correct.
All right, don't hear no more. Mr. Barnard? Commissioner? Commissioner?
No.
And the chair votes no.
Lines that up.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting. I'm through today.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor by saying aye? Aye.